Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we're going to tell you a little bit more about our Demystifying the College Application Process workshop for the spring semester. So to begin with an about us, my name is Helen Wu. I'm one of the co-founders of Camp Intellect, and I'm also the primary writing instructor. So just a little bit of my background. I'm currently a freshman at UChicago, planning to double major in economics and political science. I'm a member of the debate team as well as 2 consulting clubs, and I've also had internships in marketing and private equity. In high school, I was the debate captain as well as editor-in-chief of my school newspaper.
And hi, I'm Jason, a current senior at Germantown Academy and a rising freshman at Yale University. I am planning to major in pre-med because I'm largely a STEM person. I love science because it really does answer the whys of our world. Specifically, I am more of a biology person. I have earned second place in ISEF, participated in biology Olympiads, and participated in the governor's school at Pennsylvania.
You can learn more about our background and experience at www.campintellect.com/staff. So, what sets us apart? We know that there are tons of private college counselors out there and also plenty of workshops that you can attend. But what we uniquely provide is firsthand experience. We see that the college admissions landscape is constantly changing. Even within the past few years, admissions rates have gone down, schools have gone test optionals, and things have been changing at a rapid pace.
And Camp Intellect really is unique because Helen and I are both recent high school graduates who have a lot of firsthand experience with the college application process as a whole. We really do know what that's like from the inside. Helen and I also have a lot of teaching experience. We've been teaching for over 3 years at Camp Intellect and taught hundreds of students from many different backgrounds and many different ages.
We emphasize the importance of early knowledge. And so for that reason, we think our workshops are perfect for the high school junior who is about to enter the college application process, but also for any younger students who are interested in learning more so that they can be better prepared and know what to do later down the line. Finally, we want to emphasize that the college application process is collaborative. It requires the hard work and effort of the entire family. And so we have designed our workshops to be accessible to the entire family. And we encourage both parents and their children to attend together so that they can be better prepared for this mission.
So taking a look at the course details, this workshop will be 10 sessions long and it will occur weekly on Sunday from 7 to 8 p.m. EST. This will begin on April 3rd and run all the way to June 5th. So that's exactly 10 weeks long. On the right, you can see the schedule for the workshop. The first 6 workshops will be focused largely on the college essay and then focus more deeply into the specific supplemental essays, which are unique to each school. And then finally, we'll sum up the entire college essay unit with another college student panel where we'll bring many current college students in to talk about their essays, what they thought was good, what they thought didn't work as well. And then after those 6 workshops, the next 4 will be focused more bigger picture on the college application process as a whole. This will include choosing a potential major, how to conduct alumni interviews, which are actually a really big part of your application. And then finally, we'll talk a little bit about scholarships, when to apply for them, and how to apply for them. Our last workshop will invite a special college guest that we won't yet release information about, but that should be also a really exciting workshop. In terms of cost, there are 2 ways to register for our workshop. There's the bundle registration, which will be $249 for all 10 sessions. The second option is individual sessions. And so we know that some people may want to listen to certain workshops, but not others. And so you will have the freedom to do so by registering for weekly sessions only. It'll be $29 per session. We record every workshop and we'd be happy to send it to you if you weren't there to watch it in person.
Thank you, Jason. And we know that some of you might have missed our past workshops, but might be interested in going back and watching them. And so we highly recommend you reach out to us about purchasing a recording if that is the case. Additionally, we are super excited to be launching a new referral program. At Camp Intellect, we largely rely on word of mouth marketing, where our past students who are really happy with the program spread the word to the people they know. And so if you enjoyed our previous programming, please consider engaging in our referral program. How this program works is if a friend puts your name on our registration sheet, both parties will receive a discount. For the first friend you refer, both parties will receive $15 off, and for each additional friend you refer, you will receive $10 off. Because we need to double check the payments, we ask that everybody please pay in full when you are registering, and after we calculate the referral total, we will provide the discount through a PayPal refund within a week after your registration.
And so taking a look at our most recent fall college workshop, we're really excited to finish it off with our college student panel, where we look to invite 7 current college students from from some of the top universities in the country, which include UPenn, Yale, Princeton, Cornell, Columbia, and MIT. And we welcome them all to answer our audience's questions in a live Q&A format. So this is very exciting. And it's not every day that you see these students come together to give live advice to audience members. So this is also something we'll definitely have in our spring workshop.
Right. So although Jason and I will be the primary instructors for the workshop, we are happy to feature several special guests throughout the entirety of our curriculum. And these guests will give you an exclusive look into their essays and supplements and give you plenty of tips and tricks. To provide some brief background about Camp Intellect for those of you who might not know too much about us, Camp Intellect was founded in 2020 by Jason and I with a goal of providing an accessible, affordable, and quality education for students of all ages. We have taught 150 different students ranging from elementary, middle to high school in several different programs, all while raising over $10,000 for education-based nonprofits and local inner city schools. At Camp Intellect, our first priority is nurturing the growth and development of our students. And to that end, our goal is to bridge any education gaps that we identify, whether that's through the transition from middle to high school, from early high school to higher level academic classes, or in this case, to provide crucial knowledge about the college application process. One thing Camp Intellect has done for the past few years is pledge to meet 100% of need-based financial aid. So in our registration form, you will see an optional section that asks you how much financial aid that you might need. And if you fill that in, we pledge to meet 100% of that demonstrated need. Our all-new spring semester has a new focus, and we have several key takeaways that we hope students will gain.
The spring semester has a large focus, like I talked about, on essays. And this is because college essays tend to be infamously known as the hardest part of the college application for a very good reason, which is why Helen and I think that brainstorming and starting to prepare for college essays as early as possible is a very helpful thing. The last thing you want to be trying to think of an essay topic, trying to do research on how to write it, and have really no idea where to get started from.
Secondly, we know that parents like to read over their children's essay to try to help them or provide feedback, but oftentimes you're not exactly sure what you should be looking for. And so we think this workshop will also help parents understand what the ideal college essay should look like so that when they're helping guide their children, they know what advice they should give.
We'll also be focusing on more applicable skills. Our workshops aren't just lectures, they aren't just presentations, but there's a lot of interactive activities.
Because this set of workshops largely focuses on a very active process of writing and interviewing, we are happy to announce that the spring semester will have more hands-on activities than ever so that students can actually get started on working on their essays. So you may be thinking, great, how do I register? Well, the process is very simple. All you have to do is go to www.campintellect.com and either click the Register Now button or enter College Workshop after the URL. And so you can see when you click the bundle registration button, you'll be taken to a Google form that we conduct all of our payments through PayPal, and we ask that you follow the instructions on the form in order to ensure this process goes as smoothly as possible. After registering, you should receive a confirmation email within 1 to 2 business days.
So now we're just going to show some short clips from our fall semester workshops. And this will be a preview of what's to come for the spring semester.
Okay, to start things off, we're really going to go big picture here and talk about what we found to be the most helpful when kind of thinking about the application process and what you should prioritize. So our number one tip is to take the path less traveled. And what do we kind of mean by that? So we think that the college application, more than anything, is a time where you're really going to have to reflect on your experience in high school and also just throughout your entire life, right? So in order to really capture who you are as a person in just a few words, maybe an essay or two, some activities, you have to know who you are, most of all. There's going to be some people who say, you know, you need to game the system. You can do all these tips and like hacks to try to get into an Ivy League, right? But we don't believe in that kind of philosophy. And in fact, we think that the number one most important thing you can do is to maximize your personal potential. So when we talk about gaming the system, what we might be thinking of is, you know, doing something just for the application or doing an activity that might just look good, but, you know, is not actually what you're passionate about. So obviously, Jason and I, we do some things that are because we are thinking about college, right? That's normal. I want to be a leader in a club because I like the club, but also because it shows that I'm a leader when I am applying to colleges. So we don't mean that you should not think about college, but we mean that when you only do things with the college application in mind, you kind of lose sight of who you are as a person. And like we said, that's the most important thing, because if you don't know who you are, colleges don't know who you are, and they don't know who they're accepting into the class. And so that kind of brings me to the next point here, where you see the terms a borderline versus a shiny candidate. If you look on the right side, I have two pennies, right? And so one of them is shiny and one of them is dull. And obviously the shiny one is going to stand out. So both the borderline and the shiny candidate could both get into a school, but the inherent difference is that a shiny candidate is going to be someone the colleges fight for. They're all going to want this candidate. Versus the borderline candidate is going to be the type of person who's going to have to fight to try to get into the college. So when people say like college admissions is a very random process, they kind of mean that for this borderline candidate, it is going to seem pretty random. But then we have this shiny candidate. And the difference between the borderline and the shiny candidate is the shiny candidate, the college application process is not going to be random for them. And they have some type of shiny quality that makes them extremely desirable for a college. And so we know people from our school who got accepted into pretty much every single college they apply to, including all of the top schools. And it really makes you wonder, okay, what about them stands out so much that none of them made the mistake of rejecting the student, right? Like all of them see something special. And so what we believe creates this shiny candidate is they find the baseline, right? They find the thing that everybody does, and maybe they do the same thing, but they go the extra mile. So they take one step further from just that baseline. And so they become a person who admissions officers have never seen before. And so how do you kind of become this person? We have two key tips. The first one is you take everything that's ordinary about you and you transform it into something that's extraordinary, right? Extraordinary, so more. And we call this the Rumpelstiltskin effect. And then the second tip is to take risks and throw yourselves into new opportunities. And we'll explain this a little bit more next as well.
And so really quickly, some ways, some questions that I wish I could ask myself earlier that I did ask myself throughout the process were like, who was I as a kid, right? I did so many activities as a kid, but what does that show about who I am right now? For example, I ended up putting in one of my essays the fact that I would always ask why as a child. So in my childhood, I always asked my parents like, oh, why is the sky blue? Why can fish breathe underwater? And things like that. I connected that to my curiosity, to my passion for STEM, right? Because I always wanted to understand the logic behind the world around me, not just right the surface level things. And so that's an example of something I wish I would have thought of before. Some other questions are like, now what do others think of you? So that's a good question to think about too, right? You think you're a certain type of person, but if other people were to say, name you or describe you in 3 words, what do you think they would say? And then finally, what are your true interests / hobbies? And you may do some things simply for college, but at the end of the day, what are you really passionate? What are you interested about? And what sparks joy in you? So these are all things to think about that I wish I did earlier. But yeah, so that's another big lesson, at least that we learned from the application. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is our last workshop of our fall semester, and we're really excited to be presenting our college student panel. So as you can see, all of our panelists are already here with us. We have 7 today from a really wide variety of top schools in the country. So this is definitely not a opportunity you'll have many times in your life. So I guess next question is, how did you figure out what you were really passionate about in high school, if you did happen to find that? And what did you do to fulfill that passion? Yeah, Kevin?
Sure. So I can go for this. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm thinking about majoring in CS, maybe with a minor in business or linguistics. But sort of this idea of passion, it does come pretty gradually, at least for me. So I first got interested with computer science around the time high school started. Like I mentioned, I play the saxophone, so I'm also really into music. And so finding ways to connect 2 different things you're interested in, even if you might not pursue one as like a legitimate career path, can bring out, the positives and like the highlights of each, just shape your interest into something actually meaningful. For me personally, in high school, one major thing I did was this karaoke Shazam research project. So the basic idea was that you could sing in a tune and then it would recognize it. And honestly, looking back, it was not a great program, but just going through that process and just trying to figure things out on my own and just exploring topics that I was genuinely interested in, even if I didn't have like extracurricular, like computer science or like too much music stuff related to that, it really made me more passionate about it.
Yeah, Kevin, I think you bring up a really good point with like combining things that you wouldn't normally think would go together, like computer science and music. So yeah, Eric?
I thought that was a really cool thing that you did with that research, tying that with music, because I also sort of did a similar thing. Like I play piano as well. I really love music. And I also have a passion for like history and historical research. So I did like this independent research project on Miles Davis, who's like a famous jazz musician, his music, and also how he was as a person. For me, that was a personal project, like something that I was just really personally interested in. But I sent it to colleges as well because I thought, maybe they'd want to read that.
Awesome. Yvonne?
Yeah, so I am a prospective neuroscience major. I kind of grew up around science. It was my sophomore year of high school when I had this really specific research experience. It was where a professor and I were researching MRI brain scans of like children with autism. And then I later went that week, like my local area, we have a elementary school specifically for kids with autism. And so it was seeing like the research and then the people who could be impacted by my research, this kind of balance that really caused me to become really passionate about like neuroscience and brain sciences.
Thank you so much. Hopefully you learned a lot about our spring semester and we hope to see you soon. If you have any additional questions or concerns, you can find us through our email at campintellect@gmail.com. You can sign up for our mailing list on our website, or you can reach us at LinkedIn, Facebook, and WeChat. Please stay tuned. We'll be sending out a lot more information about our summer programming, which is super exciting. And we also have staff applications currently open if you are interested. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Helen and I are looking forward to working together with you or your children.